Hello and welcome to Way Forward Bucks webinar on different dietary approaches to weight loss. My name's Judy Earle and I'm a specialist weight management dietitian. I'm going to talk through some different evidence-based approaches to weight loss, as we know there's no one size fits all. We're starting to understand why a more personalised approach to nutrition works better. We all have different physiology, genetics, gut microbiome and food preferences, etc. So I'm going to talk through some different approaches which are backed by evidence. I've put some references at the bottom of each slide if you're interested, but please do ask the dietitian who runs your group and they'll be happy to help or give you a diet sheet or some information around each approach. We're going to start with the 600 calorie deficit diet, and this works for most people in group settings. We start by calculating your resting energy requirement, and then we add on some calories for activity level and take off 600 calories, which allows for an approximately 1 to 2 pound weight loss a week. But of course, this is an approximation and it's not quite as straightforward as that. We would need to recalculate your calorie requirement if you lose weight, as you do need less calories at this stage. But if you've been through the programme, you'll know that all calories are not equal. And this is why we spend time talking through food groups and the importance of a well-balanced diet. There's a lot of interest in the Mediterranean style of eating. Studies seem to show that it's especially good for our health in terms of our heart, our gut health, promoting good sleep, and also our mental health as well. It involves eating plenty of fruit and vegetables, peas, beans and lentils, whole grains, nuts and seeds, and small amounts of fish or lean meat, plus using healthy fats like olive oil, and if possible, extra virgin olive oil. We do have information on this diet if you're interested. If you want some ideas on recipes or meal plans, Diabetes UK has some good information. And if you want to find out how closely your diet matches a Mediterranean style of eating, you could have a look at the Mediterranean Diet Score tool on the cardiacrehabilitation.org.uk website. Time-restricted eating can be used alongside other approaches. It means just reducing the window of time over which you eat during the day. So you could start by eating over a 12-hour window, a 12-12, so 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock in the evening. And then you may want to reduce it down further to a 10-hour eating window or even an 8-hour eating window. There is some evidence that eating earlier on in the day is better for our blood sugars, cholesterol and weight loss, however. Some people do find that it's useful to have a kitchen's closed time if you tend to snack in the evening. So for instance, aiming not to eat after 8 o'clock. There's also some information available on intermittent fasting. You may have heard of this called the 5-2 style of eating, and the 5-2 diet was designed by Michael Mosley. In this diet, it involves 2 days of fasting during the week, where you eat just 500 calories for women or 600 calories over the day for men. This is quite a restrictive way of eating, and we tend to use a less restrictive pattern, which was designed by Michelle Harvey, a dietitian, and is called the 2-day diet. She uses 5 days of eating Mediterranean style diet with a lower carb intake on the other 2 days a week. And there's some information at the bottom there why the 2-day diet works, but we also have a diet sheet on this if you're interested. You may want to look at a lower carb style of eating. It certainly does work well for some people. We don't recommend a very low carb or keto style diet, as it can be lower in fibre and some vitamins like the B vitamins. There's not much research around longer term outcomes, in particular health outcomes either. But we do have information on a moderate or 130-gram carbohydrate restriction. We certainly know that some people lose more weight on a lower carbohydrate diet and some on a lower fat diet. Some people notice that their hunger increases after eating a high carbohydrate breakfast, such as cereal or toast, and you might want to try this out to see if that's you. To explain this better, I've put some information that's come from the Zoe Predict data. As you can see on that orange line, people who eat a very high carb breakfast, such as cereal or toast, and don't deal well with it, are called big dippers. And these people tend to have an increase in blood sugars, but their blood sugars will then dip, which causes increased hunger through the day. And they can end up eating more calories. They found this was around an extra 300 calories per day. So if you think you might be one of these big dippers, you may want to experiment by trying different types of breakfast, perhaps a higher protein one instead, or trying higher fibre foods as well. But it's not just the quantity of carbohydrate that we eat, but also the types of carbohydrate as well, which is why I've put a bit of information here about ultra-processed foods. So ultra-processed foods tend to be those foods that we buy that are wrapped in plastic and have lots of ingredients that we don't recognise or wouldn't add in our kitchen. Processed foods can be things like tinned and frozen foods, and those are perfectly fine. But ultra-processed foods are often very low in fat and low in fibre and high in fat and sugar. Around about 50 to 70% of the calories in our diets comes from ultra-processed foods, even more in children. And evidence suggests that these foods may not be good for our health. And there are lots of reasons why they're not good in terms of helping us to manage our weight either. They can stimulate hormones which increase our appetite and lead to overeating. They're often low in fibre, and the food is broken down so that they are less filling, and this can lead to overeating too. They're designed to be ultra palatable with a magic mix of fat and sugar, and we can actually see that they light up the reward centres in our brain, leading to overeating. And in fact, they take around about 50% less calories to digest than other higher fibre foods as well. So there's lots of reasons why we ought to be cutting down on these ultra-processed foods. Do ask your dietitian if you want more information on this, and there is another webinar in our series that covers it. Meal replacements may also be helpful to you if you want to kickstart your weight loss. There is strong evidence for their use, in particular in reversing type 2 diabetes. These meal replacements include things like Optifast, Cambridge, Lighter Life and SlimFast. If you're going to use total meal replacements where you replace all your meals, then it's not recommended you do this for more than a 12-week period. But you may just want to replace 2 of your meals, say breakfast and lunch, and eat a normal healthy meal in the evening. There's much more emphasis on reintroducing normal foods back into the diet now than there was previously, so people tend to be more likely to keep the weight off. It can be helpful if you don't have time to prepare food, if you tend to skip meals, or if you just want to try a different dietary approach to kickstart your weight loss. So in summary, there is no one size fits all when it comes to managing your weight. You really have to work through what works best for you during the programme, and your dietitian will help you with this. Use your one-to-one appointment to ask your dietitian, or at any point during the course, if you don't feel like you're reaching your goals. Do remember to set non-weight related goals as well, as many aspects of your health may change over the course. And don't forget, we're here to help you work through setbacks and lapses, as well as encouraging you when things go well. Good luck with your weight loss journey.